Hey everyone, Kimberly Castleberry with JustAskKim.com, and we are hour 12 of a 13-hour run. And as you probably noticed, I'm a little more awake. Hour 12 of a big run like this, when you're getting really close to your results, is always a fun stretch because you're coming into new territory, okay? You're coming into places you haven't been, results you haven't seen, territory you haven't worked before, okay? You're coming into a stretch that actually grows you quite a bit, but it really forces you to look around, to know where you're at, to be observant, and it's really kind of exciting, okay? Hour 12 is also often where we start to first receive results, and this can be a good thing finally, because prior, we've run all this stretch. It was long, it was frustrating, it was exhausting. We may have run all the way up to here and not seen results yet, and it made us want to bang our head against a wall, okay? And it really is not until you've put a good stretch into a particular topic, into a certain phase of your business, that results are going to start to be measurable, okay? Traction starts slowly, like I talked about in the sunrise video. Initial traction is very difficult to quantify. It's very difficult to measure. And because of this, it's often not till extremely late in the run that results start to show up in your metrics. Results start to show up in the numbers you measure. And results start to feel really good in your gut, okay? And this is important because, one, it's important that we knew this prior because we were probably looking for results and getting really frustrated, and it's important that we know it now because now we can start making sure that we have everything in place to drive those results home. And it really is this awareness of wrapping all the final stuff up, okay? You have to have, for these phases, for these legs, for this success to work, you have to have these phases of your business, and each of them have to have a particular endpoint, a particular destination, a point that you know when you've hit your goal and you've arrived. When you can say, I did X successfully, okay? I did a 90-day run successfully. I did a 30-day challenge successfully. I did 90 days on my blog successfully. I did X successfully, and you can feel good about it. Without that, the concepts, the stuff you're learning, all the stuff you're working on will continue to churn away in the back of your head, and you'll never feel like you accomplished anything. You'll feel like you're just out here spinning your wheels. You'll feel like you have no real results to show. You feel like you've accomplished very little, and you'll get frustrated, and that's of course obvious, and you'll do the things that people do when they're frustrated, things like quit. And that's not, well, let's just not have that, because what you've actually done is you've put in a lot of work, a lot of results. You've got a lot of stuff coming in. You've done a lot of good stuff up to this point, but because it hasn't started to show up in the metrics yet, it's been hard to see numerically. It's been hard to categorize and quantify it as things accomplished. And so it's important that as we approach our destination, just like an airline pilot has a pre-landing checklist or a post-flight checklist, just like you have this checklist before you come in to land that plane, you need to be going through at this phase a checklist of all the things that you meant to accomplish, that you worked on, that you were involved in through this phase of your business. So work on this now and wrap up all the loose ends. Okay, start calling back the people you might have missed. Start, finishing up, put some polish on the sales pages you created early in this phase. Finalize submissions of the guest posts and articles you wrote during this phase. Do all this kind of wrap up, okay? There's a whole lot of wrap up that goes into, and it really depends on what phase you're in, what you're doing with your business at the moment, okay? It's unique to every aspect of the business, so I can't really go too far into what's involved, but you have to look around and make sure that you're wrapping up all those loose ends, because what you want to make sure that you do is when you come into hour 13, you want to be able to successfully say, I arrived, I did it, I can feel good about this. This is very important. That is the mental success that's going to drive you on forward. It's going to let you know that you can do this, that you can get results, that you can accomplish stuff. You're not going to feel like a failure. You're not going to feel like you're churning your wheels out here. And without this little checklist and without wrapping things up so you can have that finality, you'll feel like all these things even when you're very successful out here. You know, you're making progress, you're doing well, you've put a lot of time and energy in, a lot of heart in. I'm really proud of what you've done out here, and I want you to feel like you've accomplished something, because there's nothing more frustrating than working and working and working and feeling like you've accomplished nothing. It is so frustrating, and it can make people want to walk away for good reason. You know, why would we keep doing something that was getting us no results? Well, the problem is we have to know how to set ourselves up to see those results, and we have to know how to set ourselves up to see success, and we have to have success defined, or there is no success point, okay? Oftentimes, we don't put the logic in place. We don't put the final line in the, line on the floor, line in the sand, line on whatever that gives us something to step across to say, yes, we did this. And when we don't do that, then it just leaves us frustrated. So, like I said, you want to wrap up all the loose ends of your business at this point. You want to be going through that checklist and being sure that you've gotten back with all those JV partners, that you've done your full side, that you've given 110%. You want to put polish on stuff, be it on your blog, be it on, sales page you did. Initially, we get things started, and they can go out and they can be kind of rough. It's fine. Don't worry about your initial sales page being pretty rough, but come back later and buff shine it, okay? Come back later and put some spit shine on it. And now is the time to start wrapping all that up. Now is the time to start looking at how do we wrap up this final project. And this next hour is this next little portion of this run is invested in wrapping all this up, so that when we hit that hour 13, when we hit that destination, we can look at that list, we can arrive at the bottom, we can be check, 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 done. And there is nothing more satisfying than being able to say you successfully accomplished something, okay? Be it anything, be it a small phase, be it a big phase. Don't worry about it being a massive phase. Don't even focus on that, that whole big elephant thing. Don't do that. But, this is where you want to arrive so that you can have that great sense of accomplishment. And it can be, another thing that's important here as well as we're looking at that checklist, is now is the time when metrics are starting to come together and you're probably just starting to see results from the stuff you've done the last couple weeks. Now, if you're talking like a 30-day phase, results may be not even just starting to come in yet, okay? Sometimes 30-day phases just aren't long enough to see the massive backlinks, the full traffic, things like that. But by the time we're talking 90 days, as you're getting near the end of that 90 days, you're definitely going to be seeing your metrics start to pick up. You're going to see the backlink numbers. You're going to see, the traffic. You're going to see the opt-ins, whatever you did during that 90 days. And it's important to realize that often we don't see those metrics early in the game. We don't see them at the first quarter. We don't see them at the first half. We don't even see them at the first 3/4 mark. Okay, it often isn't until we are nearly on top of our result that we actually can measure that we've accomplished something. And so it's important early in the game not to get frustrated with the seeming lack of results and throw our hands in the air. This is why early in the game we have to commit to an X number of day run. We have to commit to 30, 60, 90, 180 days. We have to commit to a year goal. We have to commit to, a business for X number of years. We have to set these big things so that we make a commitment to ourselves that we're going to keep going even when the metrics aren't there, because metrics take time. Numbers take time. Development takes time. And we won't be able to measure it all in the beginning, and we have to run on faith. And now, as you're starting to come into that destination, your numbers are just starting to come in, and now you can look at them and you can start to let them get you a little fired up, because they're going to start to look good. And as you get closer to that destination, they're going to start to feel good. And that is so key. It's so key to take those successful results, take those successful metrics that are just starting to come in, and know they're going to get better. In fact, your metrics are going to get better on a particular area even after you finish that phase, okay? Because they take time to come in, because they take time to develop. You put stuff out there, something such as article marketing, you put them out there, and an article marketed post will drive you traffic almost indefinitely. Okay, I can't say indefinitely because industries change, sites change, companies change, focuses change. But as long as it's still targeted, as long as it's still relevant, as long as it's still there, you're going to continue to get traffic off that post. And that is the big term picture we're setting up. And so it's so important that you're able to go through this checklist, having wrapped all this up, and we're about to come into hour 13. We're about to come into our destination, and you want to be gearing up so that you can say you arrived, so that you can say, you know, I was successful, and so that we're able to give ourselves some headspace, set this aside for a bit, and give ourselves a breather that helps us prevent burnout. Because if we don't have that, if we continue to churn on that concept in the back of our head, if we continue to feel like we weren't successful, if we continue to grind our wheels, we're just going to grind our wheels, mix with smoke, and we're going to burn out. You know, we're going to be like a machine that was not very well taken care of. We have to take care of ourselves, and that means defining what success is. And that means, you know, having a clear outline. And that means giving ourselves the occasional breather. And that's what we're setting ourselves up to do as we come into hour 13. Okay, so wrap these things up. Wrap up the stuff at the periphery, wrap up the loose ends, and I will see you at hour 13. Kimberly Castleberry, signing off.